hello there, and welcome to Crochet Along with Miss Carol from the Bloomingdale Public Library. Today our project is going to be a fall scarf. Now this is a little longer project than we've worked on before. It should take you several days to do it. It will take me several days to complete it, and so several days to do the video. My tools, as usual, I have a pair of scissors. I have my hook, and you'll notice this is a different hook than what I've used before. I am using a little bit larger hook. It'll make a little bit larger fabric, and I'm going to be working with a little bit larger yarn today too. So the hook that I'm choosing to use is a 6.5 or a K hook. An I or a J will work just as well, and if you want to use your G hook, that's fine. Just remember, you'll probably have to do more rows to get the same length that you would if you used a larger hook. So it might take you a little longer to get the length of scarf that you want. Our scarf, you're going to decide how long it needs to be, so it really doesn't matter what hook you get or what we call your gauge, how many stitches per inch, how many rows per inch are in your project. You can work on whatever is comfortable for you, and then you'll make your scarf as long as it is you want it. When it gets there, you do the ending thing and you're done. The yarn I'm using today is called Velvet. It is made by Bernat, which is a Yarnspirations brand. I happened to find it on sale. It's usually very expensive, but I happened to find some on sale, so I thought, oh, this would make a beautiful scarf. It's very soft. It's not too hard to work with because it's not real fuzzy, but it may be a little more challenging than the basic acrylic yarns we've been working with. If you want to use the same acrylic yarns you've been working with, please do that. Another good yarn for this project would be Scarfy by Lion Brand. And again, it's a little fuzzy, gives a little more texture, but not so fuzzy that it's hard to see what you're doing when you're working with it. So it's a good yarn to use when you first step out of your comfort zone into a more novelty type yarn. All right then, I think we're ready to get started. So this is the pattern that we're using today. It's called Fall Scarf. I wrote it so that I have permission to use it here on the video. And it's a pretty basic pattern. It just is longer, so it's going to take you longer to do it. You are probably going to use 1 or 2 skeins of yarn, depending on how long you want your scarf. A good rule of thumb is your scarf should be as long as the person who's using it is tall. So obviously if you're making it for your 6'2" brother, it's going to be longer than if you're making it for your 4'5" little brother. Measure it against the person you're working on it for, or yourself if it's your own, if it's a gift to yourself, and that'll help you decide how long it's going to be. But remember, the longer it is, the more yarn it's going to take. The yarn I told you that I'm using today, this Bernat Velvet, where's my thing? It tells me here that it's a bulky or a size 5 yarn, which is why I'm using a larger hook today. It also tells me that there's 315 yards in this skein of yarn. I mentioned the Scarfy. There's approximately the same amount of yards in a skein of Scarfy. So that should be enough to make one scarf. Remember to check your yardage because the different brands have different yardages, and some you may only have 150 yards in it. So check your yardage to see your yardage is more important than the number of balls or number of skeins of yarn that you have. So make sure you have enough yarn to finish your project. All right then. So my pattern tells me that I'm going to start by chaining 25. I'm going to make my slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 25. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. All right, and I'm going to put my ball down on the floor next to me so that I'm pulling up on it, and it's easier for it to roll than when I'm pulling over the side of my yarn ball. Now, our first stitch is going to be those 3 turning. We're going to skip 3 of our chains to make that turning chain, or our first double crochet. So we're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook. See, pull through, that's your double crochet. We're going to do that all the way across. So this should give us, we had 25 minus 3 is 22, so 22 double crochet and plus that turning chain double crochet, so a total of 23 stitches by the time we're done. Now, the fuzziness of this yarn is making it a little more difficult to see what I'm doing when I'm working into my chain. But this is the hardest part, is working into the chain. The rest of it, you're working into the parts of your stitch that are easier to see even with the fuzzy stuff. But you will be working into the top of your turning chain. And each row. So you'll have one stitch that you'll have to really have a sharp eye to see, make sure you're going in the right spot. All right, almost there. Oops, I forgot to yarn over. All right, and here's my last stitch. Now, I think this makes a nice, oops, this last one could be a little fussy. There we go. I think this makes a nice length or width for our scarf. If you like your scarf narrower or shorter, simply increase or decrease your starting chain to make it the size that you like it. The pattern that we're going to be using today requires an odd number of stitches to work out right, so just make sure that you make an odd number on your turning chain, the width that you want your scarf to be. So we're working on the border for our scarf. It's going to be 4 rows long, so I've just completed row 1. And we're going to use a new stitch today. So I'm going to chain 3, turn my work, and then I'm going to do what is called a front post double crochet. Now it's a double crochet like we've done before, only instead of going through the stitch like we normally would, I'm going to go around the post here. And when it says front post, it means that I enter my work from the front. So I'm going to go in from the front, behind the post, and come out from behind. And I'm going to pull up my loop, and I have 3 loops on my hook, just like I would with a normal double crochet. I'm going to pull through 2 and pull through 2, and I'm ready to move to the next one. Now we're going to alternate. We're going to make a back post double crochet. It's going to be the same thing, only instead of going in from the front, we're going to go in from the back. So I'm going to yarn over, go from the back, across the front of that post, out the back, pull my yarn through. I have 3 loops on my hook, pull through and make my double crochet. I'm going to do a front post, then a back post, then a front post, then a back post, all the way across, and I'll meet you at the other end. Okay, so I have gotten to the end of my row. Because I had an odd number of stitches, I ended with a front post, just like I started with. Now, to finish my row, I want to work into that 3 chain turning chain. And I'm not going to worry about whether it's a front post or a back post. I'm just going to work right into that chain at the top of it there and give myself an anchor stitch sort of at the end that's neither front post nor back post. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 for a turning chain, turn my work. Now this time, because I had ended with a front post and now it's on the back of my piece, I'm going to start with my back post my back post double crochet. So in through the back, around the post, pull up my loop, and I have my back post double crochet. And then I'll do a front post. And I'm going to alternate just like I did on the other row. You go ahead and do that at home. I'll do it here and I'll meet you at the end. All right, so I actually did 2 rows of the alternating front post double crochet and back post double crochet. And you can see what I've got is a ribbed look to my border. I have a total of 4 rows, that foundation double crochet, and then 3 rows of the alternating front and back post double crochets here, and I'm ready to move on to the body of my scarf. So I'm going to chain 1 here at the end of that last row and turn my work. And now I'm going to work right into the top of that last double crochet I made that was made into the turning chain. I'm going to single crochet, and then in that same stitch, I'm going to double crochet. Then I'm going to skip the next one, which would be from this viewpoint, is the back post double crochet. And I'm going to work on the inside the front post next. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to single crochet and double crochet. So I'm not adding any stitches by working twice in the same stitch because I'm skipping a stitch in between. So I'm still using 1, 2 stitches to make 2 stitches. But it's going to give it a little texture. This is called the Susette Stitch. And it's a nice, tight weave. There's not a lot of holes in it. Skipping that stitch, single crochet, double crochet. So I'm always working in the ones where my rib is on the side that I'm working. So I'm going to skip that one. Single, double, single, double, single, double, single, double, single, double. Single, double. Now I'm at the end and I'm at that turning crochet, and I'm going to do a single crochet in that turning chain. And this is the last time I'll have to work into that turning chain. I'm going to chain 1 to give myself some space to turn it. And now on my way back, I'm going to do the same thing, only I'm going to work into the double crochets. Now we just did 1 single crochet at the end of that row because we didn't have another stitch over here that we were going to lean it over to cover for. So just 1 single crochet, which gives you a single crochet to start with, and we're going to work into the single crochet. Single crochet, double crochet, just like we did on the way across before. And then I'm going to skip my double crochet and work in the single crochet. Single crochet, double crochet. Single crochet, double crochet. Single crochet, double crochet. All the way across. Up. I think I screwed up there. I didn't skip a stitch. See, you gotta watch yourself. Miss Carol makes mistakes too. All the way across. Okay. There. All right, and then my row ends with a single crochet, and I'm going to do again just 1 single crochet in there. Give myself a turning chain, turn my work around, and do the same thing back again. Simple, easy peasy. Now, you go ahead and work on your scarf, and you just keep doing that back and forth until it's as long as you want it to be. And then we'll come back here together and we'll finish by doing another 4 rounds of this ribbed stitch with the front and back post double crochets. Have fun stitching. I'll see you back here in a little bit with a long, warm, snuggly scarf. Well, welcome back. So here I am with my project. I've got it as long as I want it, and I'm ready to put my last border on. So I finished my last row, and I did not put a chain 1. I'm going to chain 3 now. 1, 2, 3. That counts as my first double crochet. So I'm going to move over to the next stitch, and I'm going to double crochet all the way across. This is going to give me a foundation of double crochets that we can start that ribbed border with. And this will be row 1 of my 4 rows. So just double crochet. You're going to double crochet in to both your double crochets and your single crochet all the way across, and it'll make a nice even border for you. Go ahead and do that, and we'll come back to do the front and back post double crochets. Okay, so I'm at the end of my row with my double crochets. I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to turn my work, and then remember those front and post double crochets that we did at the beginning? That's what we're going to do again. I'm going to yarn over, go through the front and work around that post, and do a double crochet. And then I'm going to alternate so that we get that ribbed look. And that's all there is to it. So you continue that. You're going to do 3 rows of that so that you will have 1 row of your foundation row, and then 3 rows of the alternating front and back post double crochets. Then we'll be ready to finish your project, and it'll be good for a gift or to wear in the winter when the weather gets colder. You can go ahead and finish that on your own, and we'll see you next time. Next month, we're going to work on a hat to match our scarf. So tune in with me on the 15th of November for that, and I look forward to seeing you. Now remember, you can always reach me if you have any trouble. Drop me an email at cleeson, Leeson, at mybpl.org. And I'll try to help you out with any problems that you might be having, or if you want some help in finding some of your own projects. Bye-bye till next time.